ready.
Good evening. Today is Monday, January the 5th, 2026. It's 7 p.m. Before we begin the regularly scheduled Board of Selectmen's meeting. The town of Winchester lost 2 volunteers this last month. Inland Wetlands Commission member and former Planning and Zoning Chairman Craig Sandin passed away on December the 31st, as well as former Mayor William McCabe passed away on December 15th. Should be noted that Mayor McCabe was instrumental in Winsted becoming the first city to use federal funding to place ramps to public buildings for the disabled, and that was under William McCabe's term in the town of Winchester. With that,
Kevin Bishop.
Paul Marino.
Paul Harrington.
Todd Archulacci,
Glenn Albanesius.
William Hester.
William Bozo.
Selectman Lemire and Selectwoman McGlynn are excused. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to item number 3, agenda review. Does anyone have anything? Item 4, the approval of the minutes of our regular meeting on December the 15th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. Any corrections or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? 5-0, motion passes. Moving on to item 5, citizens' comments. The Board of Selectmen welcomes public comments. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes or less and may speak once. Please give your name and address, and then we ask that you just turn on the microphone if you're going to speak. Who wishes to speak? Just hit one of the red blinking microphones.
Thank you so much for having me. Carrie Taylor, 2 Stadler Heights in Winsted. I'm here because I want to make sure our community is fully informed of what is happening with the dogs, Oakley, Eeyore, and Fluke, the victims of Sarah Smolak, accused of 42 counts of animal cruelty. These dogs remain in the care of Smolak's friends against court orders after many pleas to the town to move them to safe foster. The town insists on keeping the dogs in the care of this animal abuser's friends, even though there were approved fosters with no correlation to Smolak by the July 1st deadline, as outlined in the town civil court agreement. There is undeniable evidence coming forth now that the town not only allowed Smolak associates to foster these dogs, but instructed the dogs to be placed with Smolak's people and under her control instead of available safe fosters with no link to Smolak. This is completely unconscionable that the town would make choices to willfully put these dogs in danger. Why? Your continued silence strongly indicates that there is a high level of impropriety occurring between the town and Smolak outside of the courts to benefit a woman accused of 42 counts of animal cruelty, property damage, and larceny spanning years and 2 towns in Connecticut. I really want you guys to consider all of this as you make some decisions tonight that are on the agenda. Oakley, Eeyore, and Fluke are in danger every day that goes by in the care of Smolak's followers. These people's loyalty to her amidst overwhelming evidence of animal abuse speaks volumes about what they think the acceptable standard of care for dogs should be. Also, there is no way for the town to ensure that Smolak does not have personal access to these dogs. You can't even get these people to agree to a wellness check on them unless it's scheduled in advance at their convenience and by Smolak's attorney. Maybe none of you have been the victim of abuse, but I can assure you nothing strikes extreme psychological fear into the heart than when you are in their presence. I can guarantee you after working years in rescue, dogs just like us suffer psychological trauma the same way. These dogs have been through unspeakable pain, and rather than protect them, as you have the power to do, you choose instead to send Oakley, Eeyore, and Fluke right back into the cycle of abuse that you have a moral and ethical responsibility to free them from. Let's also not forget about Brixby, another victim of small lac who was required by the court agreement to be fostered in a kennel environment. Instead of taking advantage of a highly reputable rescue's offer to foster Brixby in a kennel, free of charge, with training and socialization resources to support him, Winstead and Harwinton ACO decided instead to send Brixby to a private kennel of small lac's choice and at her cost. As noted in the police report, Brixby is not getting any training or socialization in this kennel as it costs additional funds. So the town has decided to let Brixby, already severely harmed by small lac, to decline further in a 6x9 cage for months with no socialization or training. Why? Why is the town actively choosing to add more damage to these dogs' already painful lives when there are safer, compassionate alternatives, and all this against court orders and your own civil agreement? I urge you again to please think on this heavily as you consider alternative town council this evening. I'm calling for accountability for these decisions and a complete reversal. These dogs deserve to be in environments where they can heal far away from small lac's reach. It's time for the town to do what is right and move the dogs immediately to safe foster environments and adjust your moral compass. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? Last chance, anyone else? Moving on to item number 6, town manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Happy New Year to the board, our residents, and business owners. I hope everyone enjoyed a restful holiday season and is feeling optimistic as we start 2026. Thank you for your continued commitment to making Winstead a welcoming and supportive community. To start off, Winstead Cares Coordinator, the pilot funded by the opioid settlement money, is off to a very strong start. Social media and outreach has helped get the word out. Over 9 service days in December, the coordinator served 62 unique clients, 38 men and 24 women, ranging in the ages of 20 to 72 years of age, and 74 encounters, mostly addressing housing, food, health needs. Referrals came from outreach, Facebook, family, and local partners. The coordinator is also connected with an ambulance service, police, local businesses, and organizations. After just 1 month, we've already seen a positive impact. And I'll add a little bit more. After this report was written, this evening I received an email from the mayor from a resident who was having some problems getting to his health appointments. I immediately responded to that, letting that individual know that we would have our care coordinators reach out to him. I reached out to our care coordinator. She's going to be on it, if not this evening, first thing tomorrow morning. So it is paying dividends immediately. So I say that to not only the public here, but also for anybody watching at home. If you know of somebody that needs help, let us know. Let us know, and we can put them in contact with our cares coordinator, and we'll see what kind of help that we can provide them. But again, you know, we can't see everything, but if you know something, let us know, and we'll get our cares coordinator on it immediately, and hopefully we can help. Moving on, the 27 budget, with the dawn of the new year, the town now pivots, more or less me, into full budget mode in preparation of the town manager's budget, which will be submitted to this board on or before March 15th. While department heads and division leaders are preparing their fiscal year 27 operating budget, which are due in mid-January, the budget office has begun concurrent review of town-wide commodities and utilities, including electricity, telecommunications, software, and other shared service costs, to identify efficiencies and cost savings opportunities. As you know, we're always looking to turn over every rock, and we're doing that again this year, sending anything that we possibly can back out to bid and seeing if we can save additional monies that we were able to pick up in this year's budget. Additionally, the Board of Education recently held a special meeting to discuss its shared budget priorities. One thing we haven't talked about, and I put this on the report, I welcome input from the Board of Selectmen regarding priority areas, capital projects, and other considerations that could, you know, be injected into next year's budget. Obviously, I sprung this on you tonight, not expecting anybody to have, you know, full-blown dialogue, but at our next meeting, if the board so wishes, I'll put an agenda item of 27 budget priorities, just to get a flavor of, you know, where this board is looking to go, what some of the priorities, you know, they're looking at. We get it out there, and then, you know, while I'm putting together the budget with my team, we can see if we can get some of those priorities done. Sound like a plan for the next
Yes.
agenda
Yes,
item?
please.
Okay, so I'll get budget priorities on our next agenda. On a different front, on January 3rd, I know some of our board was there. The town celebrated a triple ribbon cutting, I think the first in the town's history, welcoming Kaiwa and Company, Sacred Beauty Salon, and the Zen Den to our community. We're excited to continue supporting small and local business, and thank these new ventures for placing their trust in our town. We also extend appreciation to the Economic Development Commission for serving as our biggest cheerleaders in supporting and promoting our local economic growth. Deep Recreation Trail Grant, real quick, I've been talking about it for a while. We did submit a few weeks ago. If we do end up getting that grant from Deep Recreational Trail Grant, we will be able to complete the final 2 phases of the Sue Grossman Trail. So fingers crossed, we should know spring of '26 if the funding's coming through, but that's the last hurdle, and it's shovels in the ground. 2 last things. Windows 11 upgrade. I may or may not know this for your own home computers or business computers, but we did bring in a new IT company a few months ago. Novus has substantially completed the Windows 11 upgrade, and they did something that I just want to call attention to, where a former IT provider wanted us to go out and buy all brand new laptops or desktops. They did the simplest thing and said, why don't we just buy them more space in their computer, Paul, and then we can download Windows 11. I was looking at tens of thousands of dollars in new hardware. We just came in and bought some new memory, and we were able to upgrade basically every computer around here. So it was absolutely great thinking on Novus's part, and we're off and running into Windows 11. And last but not least, the speed camera public hearing was held on December 18th, including a healthy exchange of ideas, questions and concerns from the residents and officials. The full hearing is available for viewing on the town's YouTube page, and the presentation materials and supporting documents are posted on the town's website. Following the public hearing, there was an interest in adding a 4th camera somewhere near the town hall area. I do want to reach out that unfortunately the analysis machine that is used for collecting data, so I could bring this back to the board, was damaged in Norfolk. Somebody plowed into it. I don't know if it was done on purpose or not, but it was just a gathering fact machine. But it was destroyed. The other ones are deployed around the country. Mr. Noble recommends moving forward, if the ordinance does pass, moving forward with the 3 cameras to the DOT, getting the analysis done, and then coming back and possibly submitting an additional camera down the road. So I did want to update that. I know there was a little bit of interest in possibly adding that 4th camera. Can't do it if we want to submit within the next 2-3 weeks if the ordinance passes, because I will not have the data in order to prove to the DOT that a camera is warranted there. So we're on a holding pattern with that one. And with that, I'll open it up for any questions or comments the board may have.
Questions from board members?
I don't have a question directly to the report, but I wanted to know, we've all received tremendous outpouring on this Smollett case. And to my understanding, we have no ability to make any changes. I don't know if it's something that's warranted to perhaps invite our town attorney to our next meeting where we can, at least maybe some questions could be answered. Because again, I don't think we have the ability to do anything that everybody's asking for. So we don't know that if we do. And I know this is the courts and the attorneys, and Paul, I'll put it over to you, but perhaps an update, at least for the public, so they understand why there's nothing happening with all the emails and the outpouring that we've heard on it.
So I'll say this right now, after several conversations with our town attorney. With your recommendation, what I'd advise is I would try and get the town attorney at our next Board of Selectmen meeting. We will have to do it in an executive session, and then we can come out of executive session and discuss, because, obviously there is court cases
Yep.
that are going on, both civil and criminally, that we are not commenting because of both civil and criminal cases. But I will see if our town attorney can come to the next meeting, give an update to the board on the stance of the town, why the town has the particular stance that it does. I will state, since it's a subject that you just opened up, I'm a dog lover, first and foremost, okay? I love dogs. I love all animals, all right? So I want to make that perfectly clear right now, that I do love animals, all right? And there are things that happen behind the scenes that can't be commented publicly. But I will tell you that I have a very watchful eye on those dogs. We talk about those dogs on a weekly basis. It's not something that we have forgotten about. But there are reasons why things are going the way they are. Trust the process. I've been involved in municipal government for 20 years. Sometimes the process doesn't make sense. I understand that. But I will tell you, trust the process. Know that there is a dog lover that sits up in that office in the corner up there that think about those dogs and talk about those dogs on a weekly basis. With that, I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, and many of us on the board are dog owners and dog lovers, so I get it. And I know it's frustrating to come here and we don't say anything because the lawyers say there's nothing to really say. But if we could get, Paul, some kind of a public update that at least people could understand what's being done to protect the dogs and what our legal abilities are, I think it would go a long way to the frustration that we hear again and again and again. So,
Yeah, I think it'd be good for us to get the update as well as the public.
right.
And
Get it done.
for the record, I'm an animal lover too. I have rescued ponies, rescued donkeys, rescued chickens, rescued goats, rescued dogs, rescued cats. So I understand where you're coming from, so I'm as frustrated as you are.
Yeah, I mean, we're with you on this thing. We just have our hands really tied. But let's get an update and we'll find out what's going on.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Moving on to item number 7. Going back to item number 6.
No, you can go to item number 7.
Item number 7, correspondence. Does anyone on the board have anything?
I do, Mr. Mayor, and I apologize because I wanted to bring it down and I actually, it slipped my mind to bring it down. I got a beautiful holiday card from one of our very large business owners here in town. And he was very complimentary of me, but this isn't an ego thing. Because when he says, Paul Harrington, our town manager, no, let me finish.
This is gonna be good.
When he says, go back to my office. I'm gonna go get the letter now. No, when he says Paul Harrington or town manager, I look at that as collectively the town. And this particular business owner, who's a very large business owner and a very large taxpayer in this town, is complimenting the town manager. I look at that as the collective effort of all of our boards and commissions, all of our board of selectmen, and I thought it was such a great letter or holiday card that he took the time, handwritten, a beautiful, well-written letter, and he was so complimentary of the town manager office. It's not Paul. It's collectively all of us rowing in the same direction. And at the next meeting, if I remember, I'll bring it down. But his words were genuine, and it made me just feel really great and feel really great about the town, because it's not me. It's everybody putting in the effort, and the business owners in this community are recognizing it. So congrats to all of you. Congrats to our residents. It was such a great letter. So anyway, that's my correspondence. Should have brought it. It's not an ego thing.
Any other correspondence? Number 8, boards and commissions. Bill, Kevin, do you have anything?
Want to go, Kevin?
All right, so tonight we have just one nomination. Kevin Bergio, Inland Wetlands Commission, Party Democrat, for a term ending, a member seat term ending April 2027. I would like to make a motion to appoint Kevin Bergio.
Thank you, Kevin. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Any discussion? All in favor? 5-0. He's appointed.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask, because it's just for a point of reference, or no, either to Selectman Poser or Selectman Bishop. Mr. Bergio, when did you receive his application? His application came in on 12/22.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think he's a reappointment.
Oh.
He's already on the commission, so he's really a reappointment.
On inland wetlands?
Oh, I'm sorry, yep. He was on,
No, he's on the.
Conservation Commission.
So going back to my point, we received, the few members received the application on 12/22, and here we are, January 5th, just a short time later, and this particular individual resident is going on the commission. So if you're interested, we'll get you on immediately. So I love that we are doing it this way, because boom, 12/22, and here we are, You can say a whole new year, but it's not. It's literally 2 weeks later, and this gentleman's now on our Inland Wetlands Commission. So great job by this board by fast tracking that and getting him to serve. So good job.
We have lots of open membership seats, so we can get you on there quick. Anything else, Bill? Kevin?
I just want to say I've had a opportunity to talk to the last few people on the phone who have applied for boards, and it's really nice to see people stepping up and really interested in helping our town, and all of the people who've come forward are extremely qualified to volunteer for something that they are passionate and love about. So definitely anybody here, anybody at home who wants to step up and help the town by being part of a board, let's keep it coming. Let's keep them coming.
Thank you. Moving on to item 9, unfinished business. Charter Vision panel membership and the continued discussion. Town Manager Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So in your selectmen packet, you will see potential committee members. It's an Excel file. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 residents who have come forward with interest in serving on the Charter Revision Commission. I'll be honest with you, I think that's a very small amount. I would ask if the board is so willing, we each have our own little networks. I know we posted it on the town's website, the town's social media pages. If you all can share it, I think potentially getting more people possibly interested would be better. Maybe it didn't have enough eyes on it. I know we just went through a holiday season, which had a lot of people, distracted. I'll make a conscious effort if this board wants to, obviously put it back out there again. But I think, having 6 names, I think we were trying to form a commission of 5 people, okay? But I would say, I want to leave it up for debate. So really, the pending questions that I have is, do we want to push it back out there again and, see how many more people come forward? We talked about potentially when we would like the vote to happen on this, and I don't know if we settle on it. We don't necessarily need to, but open for discussion. Were we going to have it ready for the state election, which will be in November 26th? So roughly.
That was the goal.
That was the goal?
Right.
All right, I just want to, again, we're not necessarily formalizing that, but that is the goal. And keeping in mind that once we form this commission, they have 30 days to meet, and then they have to have, let me go back, public hearing. They have within 30 days to hold their first public hearing to hear from the public of what the public may want to see in charter revision. So, you just got through the holidays, everything like that, but I'm going to leave it open to the board now to discuss. Is this something that, you all are taking on, and I'm going to help facilitate it at all means. But again, date, do we want to advertise it some more? There was a little talk of, what select people may be going on it,
So I think a couple things we should get hammered out here as it relates to the committee itself. So the first thing is, and I agree, this is a small list. The holidays are a tough time to get people to focus on anything, really. So I think it's really up to us. Let's get it advertised again.
I agree.
Let's get it out on social media. Let's get it out on the websites. Let's get it out on all the communication channels that we have. Secondly, I think that, to your point, Paul, all of us who sit on this board should reach out to the network of people that we know in town that we think would be a good candidate to serve. I think the other thing is we should establish really a couple of guidelines for this committee. Members of the committee, in my opinion, and if we need to motion this part of it, I don't know exactly, you can chime in, Paul, but members of this committee, I think, should not be on other boards and commissions unless it's an ad hoc board, for example. I think we have situations where that could rise in a conflict, particularly since one of the agenda items on the revision is adjusting boards and commissions and how people serve. So I think that anybody on this committee should not currently be serving on a board. I don't think anybody on this committee, we've had a lot of different board members on different boards that have been related to other board members. I think we should eliminate the potential scene conflict there so that at the very least, Anybody who serves on this committee should not be related to a Board of Selectmen member, clearly. I don't know if we need to expand it to other boards, but at least I think we should make sure that this has the appearance and the truthfulness of there's no insider networking going on here, that we bring a committee together that's not related to us, that's not currently serving on a board, that can take a really clean look at these changes that we're suggesting.
I think it would make sense to do that. I also think that we reach out to those who aren't necessarily involved intimately in the political process, away from town committees, just regular, everyday citizens who have an interest in the town. They don't have to be Rs or Ds, but just want to get involved and help the town update its charter, which was last done in the 1980s. It was changed a few times, but it was originally passed in '66.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Paul there a little bit. I think we need to have a broader pool here. And Paul, if you could, if we push this out on social media and in the public, maybe a short paragraph, brief description of what the duties of this, you know, there's a lot of people out there like, I want to volunteer for something, but they got to understand the commitment and what's involved in a charter committee. And maybe a little description of the difference between ordinances and charter revisions.
So as it relates to some of the things that we've talked about, should we motion what we're looking for in terms of the committee? Is that something we need to iron out, hammer out?
I'm gonna answer it all right now, if the board, a lot of things were thrown at it. So, the other, item that popped into my head about advertising is, and it worked well during the budget season, is WZBG. Let me reach out to them, and see if I can get like a little bit of a 15-second, hey, interest, I forgot the gentleman's name, got a great radio voice, let me see if I can get him to, put it out there. That's it. Let me see if I can get that. I want to go back to what Selectman Marino said about boards and commissions, something just had popped into my head. Ad hoc committees, but I look at, a name on one of the lists. You look at potentially on a board that really doesn't set policy. Are we going to exclude that? And this is just talking points, just because, I look at another name on the list. I'm trying not to tip my hat too much. But there's a transit district, does that exclude the individual that may serve on transit? And it just popped into my head when I'm looking at this list.
Is transit considered a board or an ad hoc?
It's considered a board. I mean, it does have a quote-unquote financial impact on the town because, they pass a budget, and that budget then, the expense hits, obviously, our budget, our town budget. So, I want to be careful.
But I think that's more of an outside agency, though, not
It's an outside
necessarily a
agency.
town board.
I mean, if we look at the charter names the boards very specifically, and we could probably never leave home without my copy of the charter.
Got one here, too.
Amended 2019.
Yes, that was the
So what you guys are looking up, I think we should throw it out there too, but we might be limited on the pool, because we can't even fill our boards and commissions here in town, so we might be a little limited.
This is kind of a special thing, though, Bill. I think people might come out for this differently than serving for years on one of the boards.
One thing that concerns me about eliminating anybody who's serving on a board currently, I certainly want it to be a fair and open and, non-partisan, non-political sort of thing, but also people who serve on the boards currently understand, the charter and the process, and I'm opening it up entirely to, a small pool of only 5 people who have not been involved at all. We could be eliminating a lot of institutional knowledge of how the charter works and stuff. So I certainly wouldn't want anything that conflicts with, anything that we're trying to revise, but, you know, on the flip side, like, these people who serve on the EDC or any of these commissions, bring a lot of knowledge about, you know, what's the charter, what's working, what's not. So I wouldn't want to eliminate that knowledge.
I mean, I think if the boards, for example, that are particularly potentially a conflict, so zoning board of appeals, planning and zoning, inland wetlands,
Economic development.
well, I was gonna, the tax appeal board,
Assessment appeals.
Board of Assessment Appeals.
yeah, it says Board of Tax Review, is that what it officially
Yeah,
called?
yeah.
So Board of Tax Review. I mean, economic development, I don't know, you guys tell me, what do you think?
They don't set policy, right?
No,
That's what I brought up. That's where I wanted to, you know, if you say, oh, you know, it's all boards and commissions, that rules out EDC. because the-
well, going down the list then, so Board of Tax Review, would we all agree that should be excluded? I would, I mean, I believe we should, but anybody that would object to Board of Tax Review. Economic development, leave that one available. Park and Rec. Park and Rec set policy?
Yeah, when it comes to, you know, the playgrounds and, you know.
Okay, so that should be,
Beaches,
so that
rules
should
and
be
regulations
included
right
in
under
the
their thing.
exclusion list.
Yeah.
ZBA, clear. How about water and sewer, Bill?
Oh, yeah. Yep, they set policies. They're a vendor of the town, actually.
When the state set up these authorities, they are their own unique
Yes.
authority.
Right.
So then water and sewer. Winchester Housing?
So that doesn't necessarily have a direct impact on, you know, that's a federal agency, right? We do get to appoint members to it, but it doesn't have any financial implication in terms of how we operate our day-to-day. They set policy, but just for their properties.
So they could be excluded.
I wouldn't necessarily say they should be excluded, because again, they don't have any far reach in terms of
No, I'm saying, should they be
Oh.
on, should they be
Allowed
able
to
to
be
be
on.
on this or not?
my.
When I say excluded, I mean not on the list of boards that would make them ineligible.
I like a double negative.
I don't know.
From what I think I understand what you're saying, I would say they should be excluded, which then means they're on the list, but
They're able to serve.
they're able to.
Okay. Planning and zoning is obvious, fire department, I mean, I don't know what the fire department board does.
There is no fire department.
According to section 608, there is.
Well, it's their own internal volunteers.
Right.
In
Okay.
terms of,
And then inland wetlands would be the other one. That would be excluded, or would not be excluded. They would not be eligible to serve on the committee. So what's the final list, Paul?
so I have ZBA, planning and zoning, inland wetlands, BAA, parks and rec, water and sewer.
So members on those boards would not be able to serve on the committee.
That's up to the board, but
What's your thoughts there, Kevin?
I agree with that, yeah, I think that allows, you know, people with experience on those other boards and the other ones here that are, you know, ad hoc and such, to be a part of the process if they wish to be, but prevents conflicts with policy.
Ultimately, we're choosing the members of the committee.
Yeah.
We are, but
Um,
I think that
I'm not comfortable with a list of 6 people. I'd like to see that list rise to at least double, if not triple that.
Yeah, we want to try to expand the list, and some of the list would be excluded by this change because some of those people do serve on boards.
Right.
So, to lock that down, is that something we can do in a form of a motion now that doesn't start the 30-day clock?
Or is that something we have to do now?
you don't necessarily have to do it now. I think now that you've put the groundwork out there, I don't think, you know, it's up to you. I mean, this board
I mean,
has the
we
privilege to do
understand-
whatever.
we
We seem to
understand.
have an agreement, that's the direction we want to go in. So if that's the direction we want to go in, should we lock that down now with a motion and a vote? And is there any reason we can't do that now?
There's, I would, if you're going to do that, I would form the motion to say that when the Charter Revision Commission is called, the following board, members of the following boards are excluded from being a part of it. Now, if the board changes its mind, of course, the board does always have the option to, you know, re-motion, but if you wanted to move forward with that.
Well, this is really for the selection process.
Correct, yep.
So it's really, you know, a motion for the selection process, not the actual forming of the board. And I think we can do that without 30 days, start.
That is correct.
All right. So then let me check off the list that you had again. Board of Assessment Appeals.
You don't have to just cheat off my.
I could, if I could read it. I think I can. All right. Then I move that as we go through the selection process for the committee of 5, well, let's back that up again. So let's talk about the committee itself. 5 members and then 2 members from the Board of Selectmen that'll have non-voting roles, pardon?
Consultant.
To be facilitators on the board, right? So it's a member of 5 and 2 non-voting members. Does that make sense?
5 members, 2 liaisons?
It's more than a liaison, though, because the way I see it is it'll be a facilitator to help the meetings, to help them in the directions and what have you. So it's not just a liaison simply report back to this board. This will have it's a member that's non-voting is really the best way to describe it. We wouldn't vote. So it's 7, then it's really a 7-member board or committee with 5 voting members and 2 non-voting members. Okay.
2 ex officio members with non-voting power.
All right, so I move that we begin the selection process for a charter revision committee of 5 voting members, 2 non-voting members to be made up, the 2 non-voting members to be made up of 2 Board of Selectmen to act as facilitators. The members, the 5 members, should not be members of the following town boards: Zoning Board of Appeals, Planning and Zoning, the Inland Wetlands Commission, Board of Assessment Appeals, the Park and Recreation Board, and Water and Sewer. The 5 members should also not be family members of any of the Board of Selectmen. That's the motion.
We probably need more in that, right?
Probably need what?
Probably need more in the motion, such as they must be residents, elector, you know, kind of like our other commissions.
Well, I think and you could polish it up, excellent point, and say that, you know, all residency requirements are required.
Well, I think but we ran into this with one of the other boards, electors versus property owners.
In keeping in mind, this board ultimately is gonna decide on the 5. If you have somebody who's just a homeowner, but isn't truly a Winchester resident, I don't know if the board may or may not, you know, put that individual, you know, on the board. So
What do you think about that, Todd? Do you want to have it be residents only, or can property owners? We're a unique town that has a lot of property owners that aren't necessarily residents.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that we could get ourselves into trouble with, is if we said property owners, you know, and you've got some landlords who live out of town, but they have property in here in theory.
So we should keep it to residents.
Yeah, probably residents.
So is that
The
an
town.
elector, Glenn? Is that the definition that we go
It's
by?
included in that, yep.
So in addition to that, the 5 members will be full-time residents of the town of Winchester, city of Winsted, and electors.
Could I suggest that we add to the list of people who can't serve, just looking at the list here, people who are in the leadership positions of either town committee, Democrat or Republican town committee,
I agree with you. I was
I
thinking
have
of that as
that.
well. Democrat, Republican, or independent
I
town
can see
committees.
that the Democrat Town Committee chair is on the list currently, and I'm saying that to avoid any partisan issues down the line, so I would like to add that.
I wouldn't say any members of town
No,
committees,
no.
but any
Leadership.
officer position
Officer, thank you, officer.
of any of the town committees.
I only bring this to your attention, your board of, or your potential committee members of 6 have just whittled down to 3. With that.
Which is why I want a larger,
But yeah, but we,
Saying.
listen, we know that we need to reach out and do a better job of getting this list together. And frankly, nobody's focused on it in the last 3 weeks. No business of any sorts really gets conducted in the last 3 weeks.
this kind of was at the last meeting, and everybody was kind of busy in the last 3 weeks with something. I don't think anybody focused on this.
I don't know how, I hear what you're saying, Kevin. I'm a little concerned about, I mean, we're eliminating boards, that there's a real deep reason for that. We're eliminating anybody related to us, there's a deep reason for that. I don't know, and I'm just throwing it out there, asking it as a question more than anything else, if one of the volunteers happens to be on the, is an officer of either one of the, either the DTC or the RTC, I guess I'm just trying to understand what your concern is.
Well, I'm talking mostly just, yeah, the top few officers. I'm just concerned about, partisan politics. We want this to pass as a nonpartisan, everybody
We
agrees kind
would
of
like
thing.
this to be a non-political
Yeah,
board.
That's, and
Yeah.
his concern is
I
my
mean-
concern on the other side, exactly.
So the wording for that then would be, we would also exclude the officers of the 2 major town political parties or committees? Right? Is that?
Yeah, being clear, officers, obviously not committee members, obviously,
You're talking the 4 seats. There's usually a chairman, a vice chairman, a
Treasurer,
treasurer, and a
secretary.
secretary. Those 4 positions of either town's parties would be excluded.
I mean, I think
And you need to
certainly
throw
from.
you need to throw the, I don't know how they word it, the unaffiliated or the independent as well, because right now we don't have an independent town committee, I don't think, but sometimes we do. They
So
kind
we
of
could
pop
change it
up,
from
they
the
go away, they pop
the
up, they
two
go away.
town committees to any political
Established political.
town,
There you go.
established town committee.
There you go.
Got that, Glenn? It's about a 4-page motion. Anything else?
So we want to
He motioned
open it for
Oh, sorry.
2 weeks, come back,
So
get
real quick,
responses back by the first meeting.
Well, we have a motion first.
Can we just second it just
before
so
this
we can get in
motion,
the discussion?
just to add to you, how does this apply to town employees? If you have a public works resident that wants to be on this committee, or a police officer or a firefighter, do you allow town?
Again, I think your motion is going well, but remember, whoever does put their name in the hat, the 7 of you are gonna decide who goes.
And I'm not sure
Exactly.
that I would rule out town employees.
Well,
'cause
that's
they-
why I was
yeah,
asking, we
no, I wouldn't do
should
that.
just clarify it now, though. We're clarifying everything else, we might as well. It's the
Do we
only,
have a second?
only group I can think
Yeah,
of that we
can
haven't.
we get a
picked on.
second
I'll
before you
second
get,
it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Open
Robert's
discussion.
leaving me hanging out there. Advance copy, but.
Right, I'm gonna give it to
okay.
Kevin for the second.
Kevin's got the second. Second Bishop's, apologies. Again, this is, your forming of it. But again, ultimately, whoever does come forward with their name, I'm sure you're gonna probably talk about each individual person. You're gonna have to, if the list grows to 20, you're gonna have to talk about each individual person and decide, strengths, weaknesses, and 5 of them are gonna move forward.
I think
So-
one of the reasons for getting this motion together here with kind of setting the, what we're looking for on this committee is to avoid, we get nominations and we rule them out for a particular reason, and now there's always the appearance, and there's always the arguing, and there's the accusations, and all the things that go along with, well, why didn't you pick that person? Well, if we at least establish some guidelines, which is all we're really doing here, then we eliminate, hopefully, a lot of the potential problems that will come from people who would raise their hand and we all would think is a bad idea. So I think I'm just trying to get guidelines out there so that we have something that we're going by, and then we get a chance to look at the individual applicants.
I'll say.
Agreed.
And once we have applicants, let's say that people, we're talking about, we want to reach out and have a large application pool of people. We may get names that none of us know at all. How do we know who they are? Like, what is that process? Do we?
I think when they send their name in, they should give a little bit of their background and why they want to be on the committee.
Similar to a board application.
Well, so do we, that's a good point he brings up. So do we, as the 7 selectmen, we have their contact info? We can each reach out to them and vet them like we kind of do boards and
Well, can we
commissions?
start with putting together maybe an application form that just says, here's who I am, here's why I want to do this, here's how long I've lived there, my experience with volunteering? Can we put together a similar application that we do for the boards and commissions?
We can do whatever you want, sure.
I like that idea, Paul.
That'll give us a starting point.
Right.
In a leap of faith, I have no problem putting the application together. It seems a pretty straightforward application. If you want to review it, you're kicking this 2 weeks further out. Or I can prepare an application and get it live sometime, this
I
week.
think you're capable of getting that live myself.
Okay. I know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Interest,
You know-
why?
It's very
I know
similar
it's
to the
board
board's application that we already have.
But to Kevin's point, I mean, I know Winchester residents up there that are in their 80s that were born there that none of you have ever heard of. That potentially make them down off the mountain and be like, I want to be on this,
Okay.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? 5-0, motion passes.
I'll get on what I gotta get on tomorrow. No problem.
Item 10, discussion regarding the addition of automatic traffic enforcement safety devices ordinance. This is the third of 3 meetings to be held. Town Manager Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you all know, this is our 3rd meeting. I am suggesting 0 changes. And I'm trying to catch up myself to the ordinance, because it is by state statute. I did put in the table in front of you, if the board is looking to move this beyond the 3rd meeting, there's a motion on the table. It talks about dates for, charter and everything. If this motion does pass tonight, the ordinance shall take effect 15 days after I get it up online tomorrow. So we will get it up online first thing tomorrow morning. It's 15 days after that, it takes effect. So is there any questions, any comments about where we're at and what this means? And if you do take a look at the motion, is that you are authorizing the town manager to take all necessary actions to implement the ordinance, including submission to the Connecticut Department of Transportation in coordination with all applicable state agencies. Meaning, this passes, that then allows me to take the site stream information and prepare it and get it off to the DOT. We have the 60-day window where they have to respond that, yes, those 3 cameras are approved, or no, those 3 cameras are not approved, or 1 is, or 2 is. All of this is tied into that motion because this is our final meeting. This would become an ordinance on January 20th, and then it allows us to actually start applying and potentially getting the speed cameras up on those 3 particular areas we spoke about.
I'll make a motion to adopt the ATESD ordinance, and then following duly noticed public meetings held by the Board of Selectmen December 1st, 2025, 15th, and January 5th, and the public hearing on December 18th, and pursuant to the Connecticut General Status 14-212 as amended, and authority granted under the Winchester Town Charter to approve and adopt the ordinance entitled, an ordinance authorizing the use of automatic traffic enforcement safety devices. Should I finish the rest too?
Yep.
The ordinance take effect on January 20th, 2026, and the town manager is hereby authorized to take all action necessary to implement the ordinance, including submission to the Connecticut Department of Transportation and coordination with all applicable state agencies.
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Paul. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor? 5-0.
Thank you.
Ordinance is passed.
I'm working on it.
Item B, the appointment of the town attorney, Town Manager Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you know, it was requested that we go out to an RFP. As of 5 o'clock tonight, we have only one proposal. So pursuant to the town charter, I'm requesting that the Board of Selectmen appoint Kevin Nelligan as the town attorney for the town of Winchester. Mr. Nelligan has 32 years' experience in municipal law and in the town and is familiar with operational needs, priorities of the town. This appointment will ensure continuity of legal services to the town manager, town departments, boards and commissions, and the Board of Selectmen. I recommend that the appointment be made.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Any other discussion? All in favor? 5-0. Ordinance, appointment passes.
I'll get a letter out to him first thing tomorrow morning.
Item C, Police Revolving Fund Police Cruiser Acquisition.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Included in your packet for this evening was a cruiser, an additional cruiser. You can see in the amount of $66,602.10. You'll see it's two different prices. You have $1,450 in decals, and then obviously the cruiser. Looking to fund it through our police revolving account. Currently, the police revolving account has a balance as of 11/30/2025 of $161,636, $135,669, which is receivable, $25,967, which is due to the general fund for net amounts advanced for the payrolls. So roughly about $135,669 in that account. We have more than enough money. Again, this goes back to the wonderful job that our men and women are doing with all of the road jobs that are out there. We know there was a lot over the summer and also some in the fall. So again, this is a cruiser that we would put immediately on the line. Just so happens that we blew an engine in one of our older cruisers, so it's much needed down there.
I move that we authorize the town manager to purchase the police cruiser. Oh, thank you. I move to approve the expenditure of $66,602.10 from the police revolving account with sufficient funds available for the purchase of one 2026 Ford Police Interceptor in accordance with the state purchasing requirements.
Second.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Bill. Discussion?
Yes.
Nope.
The lettering.
Yes.
Vinyl lettering, and I mentioned this to Selectman Hester before. The bright white with the police Winchester on the side of it, do we not have one darked out cruiser right now? You know what I mean by darked out?
The Charger.
The Chargers.
The Chargers.
Yes.
All the other large SUVs are the blatant white.
Black and whites.
Yes.
Would it not be beneficial to have a darked out SUV? And the reason I say this is, and again, depending on the use that the chief sees for this, right? If I park this at the ambulance barn, I can see this as soon as I come down 44. When they're darked out, it's still a cruiser, but you don't notice that darked out till you're right on it. It's just, I don't know if this was just chosen or if this was a preference
So-
by the police department.
On that, one of the things that came out after September 11th, 2001, was visibility. You wanted to be able to see the police cars, easier to see them, see that they're out, see that they're around. They kind of did away with a lot of state police cars were all unmarked. And that was one of the reasons why, after September 11th, there was a movement to make the cruisers black and white again to stand out, so they're visible, to be seen.
I guess that's a good point, but isn't it nice to have a handful that aren't as visible?
I think, and I hear what you're saying, Bill, and I appreciate it. I think that our role is not, that, the chief's got to decide which ones he wants blacked out, which ones he doesn't.
Well, that's why I asked.
That's an internal decision that Paul and the chief make. We just give them the money to buy the car.
Right.
So,
That was the question, though, is did you guys have the internal discussion, or this was just,
We did it, so funny you bring that up. We did have internal discussions, so one of the things that you'll know is that we do have a mishmash of vehicles right now.
Right.
Once we get the general fleet replaced, then we will look at doing unique vehicles, but right now, what we wanna do is replace the aging fleet, get all of the high visible vehicles out there, and then later down the road, if the police revolving account continues, we'll look at adding, a mixture of cars, but, well said by everybody, and the valid points on it all. Right now, we're in such desperate need to get the line fleet replaced. We're gonna do that, and then eventually down the road, come back and visit those vehicles that you don't wanna have seen most of the time. But right now, we're in desperate need to replace our high visible fleet.
And I think to your point, Bill, those charges are gonna age out
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in the not too distant future, and that'll be an opportunity if they wanna do a blacked out unit then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good answer.
The charges are old.
All in favor? Unanimous?
I now know, currently right now in the Sally Port downstairs, that cruiser that was purchased with the police revolving account about 2 months ago has landed. It's going off to Torrington next week to be lettered, and that'll be added to the fleet. So bing bang, and we're moving right along. So that is here. So I just want to let everybody know that that motion that was made maybe 2 months ago, that cruiser has hit the ground. It is a 25. This particular cruiser, as you see, is a 26. So.
Great.
Is it about a 2-month turnaround after you give them the PO to get it back? And
Yeah. Again, these
these are not built units that they have already?
They're not built to, and I guess ask if you have time, stop in and maybe now is the time because it's in the garage. Look to see what's in the back rack of where all the brains of this thing go. Each department is different. All of them, there's 2026 Explorers sitting up at MHQ in Middletown.
The cars are built. This
They're
is
built.
just
This is
how
now
we need it upfitted.
How we need it upfitted. And each town upfits it a little bit different.
Yep.
We put the push bar on it, we put the lights on it, and some towns just want, as Selectman Pozo said, they may want a low profile vehicle. Doesn't come equipped with as much stuff. So that's what takes the time, is roughly 2 months, get all the equipment that we're looking to put into it, and installed in the vehicle. So it's about.
How old is the one that blew its engine?
I knew you were gonna ask me that too.
Probably, what is it, one of the Tahoes?
It was one of the Tahoes, yeah.
I think those were 17s, 16, 17s.
16, 17s, yeah. 40,000 miles on it.
And 7 million hours.
Yeah, oh yeah. But the Explorer that we purchased in the budget this year, that's hit the ground, very little issues. The officers love it, yeah. So it's been good. They've been good to us.
Item 11, citizens' comments. The Board of Selectmen welcomes public comments. Anyone wish to speak?
I knew you didn't sit there all night just to listen to us talk.
No, things that came up. I just came down to watch. Better than watching it on YouTube. Willard Platt, West Wakefield Boulevard. When you were excluding members from the Charter Revision Committee, you left it open for people that were town employees, but the charter does exclude town employees from being on commissions. So maybe you should think about that.
We will review that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Liz.
Very good point. Item 12, Selectmen's comments and reports. Anyone?
Happy New Year, everyone. Off and running.
Kevin?
I just wanted to say that just before the holidays, I had the opportunity, the superintendent of schools had invited the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Education to attend a special holiday lunch, and I had the opportunity to attend. And I just wanted to note something that I saw there. That, it's one of those things that you only see if you're there in the schools doing it. And we went to lunch at Pearson first, and then we went basically over for dessert at Hinsdale. Got to talk with the staff at both places. And one thing that really struck me that I had no idea, even though I have a daughter going to Pearson, is how much our teachers do double duty, like in the lunchroom. We had teachers and reading specialists and counselors wiping tables, clearing things, doing, corralling kids during lunchtime. So, I just wanted to give a shout out to all of the teachers for, just doing whatever needs to be done. And it's one of those little things that, like, you just don't know unless you're there. So it was really nice to see that. So I just wanted to say thank you to all the teachers for what they do.
This morning, several members of the Board of Selectmen were happy to swear in or be in attendance at the swearing in of our newest police officer, Peter Tiemann. Welcome to town. With that, we don't have Troy.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Good night.
Good night, everybody.